Hello YouTube, this is Dark Vigilante here, giving you a review of a Famiclone console that I recently bought from Aliexpress. And as you can see, I'm showing it on the screen there. And it looks like the price went up a little bit. I remember, I think I paid $27 or so and I got package number 2. It's kind of your typical Famiclone. It does look like a Famicom in quite a few ways, including the controllers. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get to looking at it. So here it is, and we have the box that actually says FC Compact 2, and that is not the name that was on the ad. The ad was like RS-37 or RJ-37, something along those lines. You could see it there if you want to back up and look at the actual model number they're calling it, which is nowhere on this console. And yeah, so let's just get started. Let's pop this baby open. And full disclosure, I'm not being promoted by Aliexpress here. I am not being paid for this review. I paid for this with my own money from my YouTube proceeds actually, and I just decided that I would do it. So no one's paying me. This is all out of pocket and on my end. So here's the contents. We have a couple of cartridges. The first one that I'll show you is Contra 1, and essentially what this cartridge is Contra, the first Contra, with different guns and stages that you can select from when you start it up. And I will show video of this later on in the video so you guys can take a look at it more thoroughly. But just a very cheap, it feels very cheap, very flimsy. The cartridge itself is itty bitty. I mean, it's probably that big, you know, it's tiny. So, I mean, what do you expect? You're not going to get, you know, super good quality cartridges. So, that's that one. And the 501. I've actually never seen this particular one before. This is probably a newer one than what they were handing out before. In the picture, at least in the old picture, they were showing the old, I believe it's Resident Evil 5 cover, like Cool Boy or something, 501 cartridge, but this is the one that mine came with. And again, I'll show you a video of what this has, and we'll go over that a little bit later. The other contents are as follows. We have some AV cables, just some composite cables, nothing special there. We have 2 controllers, and I'm going to talk about those here for just a minute. 1 and 2. Number 2, I'm sorry, this one, does not have a microphone like the original Famicom did, so if you're hoping to get that kind of compatibility, not going to happen. Again, not too surprising considering it's a clone. It's not going to have that kind of functionality. I'm going to put this away. They are exactly identical, other than the Roman numerals on them, which you can see there. Let me pull this out for a second. These feel, I don't know, they feel good and bad at the same time, if that makes any sense. Probably not, but the buttons feel okay. They are playable. I have used them. I wouldn't say they're comfortable. They're just so-so. The build quality, it's actually pretty decent. I don't think this is something you'd break easily. It does have actual screws, so that you can take this apart if you wanted to. You could replace the buttons with better, more responsive buttons if you want to. And then the start and select buttons are rubber. They're not plastic, so that's always a good sign. And then last but not least, the sticker is actually coming. There's a little bit of a bubble there. I don't know if you could see it in the video, but it's right here by the D-pad. It's got a really nasty bubble there where there's some kind of gunk or something under it, which is unfortunate, but all in all, not a terrible controller, not a great controller. Usable, yes, but you know, there's really not much more to say beyond that. The power supply comes with a US adapter and European standard, and it is 9 volt, 1000 milliamps. So this will power a regular NES as well as this console. So if you ever lost your NES one, or if you needed one for some reason, you could use this one. Does have a little power LED, which is nice as well. And last but not least, of course, we have the console itself. So let's take a look at that. And it does say family computer on it, like the Famicom. It's actually in English here. It says push this button for reset and switch off the power before loading or unloading the cartridge. Sorry, I'm trying to read that upside down. And that's your power right here, so it just clicks up and down depending on which one you're after. And then we have reset, which is very clicky for some reason, but it does work perfectly, so I guess it doesn't matter much. eject, which also works surprisingly. Dust cover, just kind of hinges up and down. I think the original one did that as well. The sides do actually hold the controllers. I'll grab the controller for a second here. Where did I put it? There it is. And you just put them on the side there, one for each side, and it holds them just fine. On the front, we have two DB9, I believe they call these. These are the Genesis connectors, and I tried to connect Genesis controllers to this console. They don't work at all, so it looks like you're going to have to use the original controllers. I am not smart enough to figure out how to change pinouts on controllers. If you are and you want to do that for this type of console, hey, more power to you. You're smarter than I am. And last, we've got a power LED right in the middle. It is red in color. On the back, we have AV out, and that's the only way that this thing outputs audio and video. And you can see it's kind of a weird configuration. The video is kind of over there with the right side audio, but it does work. And it's kind of showing that it has stereo audio, but I don't believe it does. I'm going to guess it's mirrored mono or just mono outputting on both channels. I can't really tell. My hearing is not the best, so I'm not the best judge of that. You can be the judge when you actually hear the system in action. Also, there's your power jack, right? It's your 9-volt power jack, nothing fancy there. And on the underside, it just says 9-volt, 0.5 amps on the little silver sticker there. Last thing I'd like to note before we move on is that the bottom also has screws, and this does come apart. There's no wires or anything in there, and it actually looks really nice. I'm not going to take it apart on camera. Just take my word for it. They did a pretty good job. If you get it from the seller that I got, and hopefully they're still making it the same way, and it's the same stock and all that good stuff, the console's put together rather well. There's not like a really shoddy job in here, and I was very surprised by that, considering usually clones are kind of hit or miss. They can be really, really good or absolutely terrible. But this one, I think, is okay overall. And the last item in the box is the instruction manual, which is primarily in Chinese. I believe toward the end of the manual, let's take a look here. Yeah, there you go. We do have some English. There's no other languages besides English and Chinese, though. So if you guys speak a different language, you're going to have a difficult time reading this manual. Not that you'd really need to. I mean, you know, manuals like this are not all that difficult to get around. You know, we pretty much know how to run a Famiclone or Famiclone console. So that's it for that, guys. Stay tuned for the second half. Alright guys, so this is by far not the best way to capture this, but unfortunately the HD PVR2 won't capture this particular Famiclone directly, so I'm not going to be able to show you that. So this is my CRT as best as I can position. It's not really in the best place to record from, but bear with me. Mostly you'll be looking for the sound because the video is probably not going to come out that great. So like I said, bear with me. It's what I have, it's what I can do, and let's proceed. So here we go. First one up, we're going to do the 501 cartridge, considering that has what the other cartridge has on it anyway, and I will show you that, and we can just bypass the other cartridge completely. It's literally the exact same thing as what this one has, so here we go. Well, as you can see, I'm terrible at that, that's that's for sure. Let's do Super Mario. Okay, let's try something else. Let's do one last one, and we'll do Ninja Gaiden for this last one. Anyway, you guys get the point. That's kind of a pretty terrible demonstration, but it's best I can do with what I have, considering it won't take a direct audio and video connection from the Hauppauge for some reason. If you're interested, I'm going to attach some photos of the console, the controllers, and the cartridges at the end of this video. If not, I hope you guys have a good one. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.